Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online series 9 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a team that got top 8 at the Japanese National Championships last weekend, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. That team, of course, features a lot of fun Pokemon like Regieleki and some more standard sets like Weakness Policy Metagross. Now, in the last episode, I didn't really get to utilize Entei very much, and I feel like that was the main lesson I learned from especially games 2 and 3, so hoping Entei can come out in some of the matches today. Before we get started, today's episode is sponsored by the Ridge. The Ridge, as you may have seen on the channel, makes some really awesome lifestyle products, and their most popular one is the Ridge wallet, which you can see right here. It's a super simple, minimalistic wallet that's able to fit up to 12 cards between these two metallic plates, and there's also a band or strap for cash here in the back. Super easy to use as well. You slide out your cards using this little indent on the side, pull out whatever you need, and slide back as such. As you may have seen, I've been using this wallet basically for over a year at this point, and it has become my go-to wallet. But if you don't believe me, there are over 40,000 5-star reviews for the Ridge wallet alone, which, by the way, comes with free shipping and free returns within 45 days. So you can always get one of these, try it out. If you decide you don't like it, send it back to them and get your money back. By the way, the Ridge wallets will hold cards up to a standard credit card size, so it won't be able to fit anything larger like business cards, for example. So keep that in mind. I'm currently on their website at ridge.com/VGC. By the way, you can use code VGC for 10% off your next order. You can see all the different kind of products that they have, including their line of wallets. As you can see, it comes in different colors and materials. This is personally my favorite one. It's the carbon fiber one, but there are definitely cheaper options that come in different materials as well, including titanium and aluminum, for example. As I always talk about with the Ridge, they have some really awesome backpacks as well, and I actually have been using their duffel bag and their weatherproof bag nonstop since getting them. So if you're looking for a new backpack, I'd highly recommend them, and I've linked my favorite products from the Ridge down in the description below. So thanks to the Ridge for continuing to support the channel, and if you have any questions about these products, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, send me a DM. I'd be happy to talk about my experience with the Ridge. So yeah, let's get started. All right, getting into our first match of the day. I thought I was click recording, or I thought I started recording, but apparently not, so getting into it a little bit late, but let's get started. Pretty cool team here. They're missing a Charizard, but, you know, they got Venusaur and Blastoise. That's always fun. Venusaur, Porygon, Torkoal has really felt like one of the most stable cores for a couple formats now. But then it's interesting to see Urshifu, Klefki, and the Blastoise. Okay, so let's see. Primarily special attackers. They don't have Fake Out other than from potentially Blastoise. So I didn't utilize Entei well. I don't think I even brought it yesterday, and I think that was like the key lesson I learned from those games. So I think Entei should probably come out here. Metagross is weird. Like, it's like okay. It's not amazing, but it's not terrible either. But like, I honestly really like Entei. I just don't know if I want to lead it. I'm kind of down for Grimmsnarl plus Feeny as a lead. Runariga seems really subpar here. I guess the only upside is that it can help against the Porygon, and that's actually a big enough reason to consider bringing it, but I don't know. I think I really like Entei and Moltres here. Part of the problem is if I'm bringing both Grimmsnarl and Runariga, I don't have that much offense, right? So then I'm really relying on my last two Pokemon. And normally, like, Metagross being one of the two, it gives me enough confidence just because it's Metagross, and it's very likely that I would activate the weakness policy. But for the rest of the team, like, it takes a little bit more time to get going in terms of setup. So, yeah, we'll see. Either way, thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please show your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And thanks once again to the Ridge for continuing to support the channel. Check them out, linked in the description below. So they're going to go with Klefki plus Blastoise. Oh man, if they actually Dynamax Klefki here, and they have, like, you so could go Fake Out Max Lightning onto Grimmsnarl turn 1. I'm actually kind of expecting that. That'd be really bad for us. I think I'm just going to Light Screen and Moonblast here into Klefki, but this is not the lead I was expecting, and I think it's definitely a possibility they Dynamax the Klefki. If, I don't know, so few Blastoises are actually running Fake Out now. Like, you want one of Water Spout / Hydro Cannon, Ice Beam, Protect Yawn is actually kind of like the staple set right now. So yeah, it'll be a little frustrating if they Dynamax Klefki, because then, like, maybe Runariga could have come out. But I don't know, like, Runariga into a team with Blastoise, Venusaur, and Urshifu feels a little subpar to me. But, okay, they do have Fake Out. That's not good. It's Life Orb Fake Out, wow. Thunder Cage. Does that one-shot us? No, it doesn't. Okay. I can't remember the last time I've actually seen that move, to be honest. That's honestly not a bad turn for us, then, all things considered. Like, I'll take it. So Blastoise is Life Orb with Fake Out, which makes sense. They bring out Porygon 2 right now. And it's gonna Trace. Trace. Okay. I mean, you probably max Blastoise now, right? So, I'm down a Light Screen. And, I mean, I can't switch this thing out, right? I don't even want to switch out even if I could. Yeah, okay. I'm down a Light Screen and down to just Moonblast here into Blastoise. With Light Screen up, I actually don't know if Blastoise one-shots Feeny with the Cannonade, which would be pretty funny. And yep, they're going to commit the Dynamax. So, from Team Preview, this is not the direction I thought the game would go down in. But if anything, we're lucky Feeny survives turn 1, because if it was just like a T-Bolt, that might have just one-shot us. So, yeah, actually worked in our favor. But regardless of whether or not we win this, I don't like how the leads played out, so I kind of want to reevaluate what I could have done better from the lead matchup. Okay, so they are going to just Cannonade here. Into Feeny. We survived that thanks to Light Screen. Wow. That is really impressive. They're going to take a little bit of chip of Life Orb. We're going to Moonblast into them. It's pretty solid damage. Actually get a special attack drop. Well done, Feeny. Looked like you were on your final legs there and actually get a big attack off before fainting. And they just Ice Beam. Okay. Not a bad turn for us at all then, honestly. Feeny doesn't faint either, which is brilliant for us. And we have Light Screen up. So I think here I'm willing to just Spirit Break into the Blastoise. And Moonblast into it. Yeah, I mean, you should Cannonade into Feeny. I guess you could Max Guard here as well. Oh, Max Strike. That's pretty cool. Makes sense, coming from Fake Out. I really have no counterplay to that, so that's fine. But honestly, I got more than I expected from Feeny, so I'll gladly take it, right? This is where Runerigus could have been pretty interesting in the late game, but it's fine. I don't regret not having it. They're just going to go for another Ice Beam. That's also fine. We're going to get a Spirit Break off into the Blastoise, so it's at -2 special attack now, which is awesome. And that's 2 turns of their Cannonade already gone already as well, which is great. So we have Moltres and Entei. It feels like it needs to be Moltres here. So I'm going to bring it out. But because it's Trace Porygon, I think it's highly likely it's Eerie Impulse. Which I don't love. What do I expect my opponent's last one to be? Like, I think here you Trick Room. I mean, I think their last one should be Torkoal based off how they're playing this, in which then Entei should win. So I'm actually going to protect the Moltres this turn. Like, yeah, we take some Cannonade damage, but it's fine. Yeah, I don't know. And the thing is, who do you target with Blastoise here? Like, they could just go into Grim, but then I have 2 fully healthy Pokemon going into endgame. They're just going to Hailstorm into Moltres. Okay, it works for me. Perfect. Yeah, that did no damage. But the thing is, I don't want to Dynamax until I can confirm that Porygon has or doesn't have Eerie Impulse. If it doesn't have Eerie Impulse, then we can just Dynamax the next turn. But if it does, then the endgame can get a little bit more awkward. And it looks like they're actually going to go for the Trick Room play here, which is perfect, right? Because it's like, okay, now your Blastoise is just going to get outsped under Trick Room. So, I didn't want to Dynamax there. I guess I could have gotten away with just clicking Fiery Wrath, but honestly, I'm still pretty content about our position here. That's 3 turns of... Okay, the only scary thing here is that there's 1 more turn of Cannonade, and with hail damage, that adds up really quickly. Now, my Grimmsnarl is actually the fastest thing. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I think here I'm willing to just go for a Spirit Break onto the Porygon. And then Fiery Wrath. Actually, I like Nasty Plotting more here, I think. But I like getting a special attack drop on this Porygon. Just to, significantly hamper its damage output. Yep, it is Eerie Impulse. So this is what I was saying the whole time. That's what I was trying to play around. So I'm fine with that, right? Because this now Entei should carry our endgame. Oh, they were... I should have realized that they were faster with Blastoise. That was my bad. Like, the only issue there is that they got a freeze there. We could have obviously seen that based off the hail damage last turn, but I kind of just looked away for a second. So if I were to replay that turn, I think it's better to just go for Spirit Break onto the Blastoise slot to guarantee no Blizzard shenanigans, because the odds of a freeze are actually not terrible from Blizzard there, and freeze feels like the only way I could really lose this game. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I mean, we took so much chip damage. It is 2v2 now. Now, I'm going to Dynamax the Entei. I expect their last one to be Torkoal, but let's see. If it is Torkoal, I mean, the endgame is just going to be really interesting because I don't have that much damage. I have to Dynamax Entei. Now, we have Max Rockfall on this thing. If you're my opponent, you just go Eruption, Recover. So I want to Dynamax, go for Max Rockfall here, and Protect. Yeah. I don't love that I got hit by the Blastoise on the way out. But it's not like Runerigus would have really saved us here in the end anyway. It's just the Cannonade damage added up pretty quickly, and I never got boosted. It may have been better to Nasty Plot with Galarian Moltres the turn I went Fiery Rod, but I guess they would have just brought us down to neutral anyway. Yeah, I mean, the problem here is that Rockfall, like, it's going to be a really close endgame because I think it's basically going to boil down to Entei against Porygon, and Porygon can heal, whereas I can't. I also have a strong suspicion they might have Foul Play here. Okay, they go for Earth Power. Great read, but it's fine. Wow, that was just a hard read into the Protect, but well done. If they're going for Ice Beam, though, that means you really don't have that much damage, and the Assault Vest here is just so good, as Rockfall does so much damage. So I'm fine playing it safe here, right? Because like we're still in a really good spot. Even though they went for the read, like yeah, I could have gone for Fiery Wrath there, but I don't even know if it would KO Torkoal. I guess Air Slash does a little bit more damage there. And even though they read into that, like, it's fine, because, like, the damage output from Porygon is just so poor right now for them. We still have Light Screen up as well, which is obviously good. Yeah, it feels likely Torkoal protects here, but I'd still rather KO it, because if Porygon just used an Ice Beam on us, that makes me think they have no better damage output into us. I'm just going to go for Fiery Wrath here as well. Protect? Okay, makes sense. It's fine, still get damage through Protect, but like I said, this endgame might be a little bit awkward. Okay, well, we've seen Porygon's moveset, right? Well, we've seen Ice Beam, Eerie Impulse, Recover, and Trick Room. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I obviously should have known. Well, we didn't know the Recover yet. That was the main thing, but Recover is pretty obvious on Porygon, so that's typically to be assumed. But the thing is, this is actually pretty good for us, because now I actually get to conserve the Torkoal, right? Or sorry, I get to conserve the Moltres, because now what I can do is just max guard, or sorry, protect with the Moltres. And so I'll actually have Moltres in this endgame. And I think Max Flare should KO Torkoal at 10%, so we can set up the Sun here, which is valuable as well. The thing is that Porygon can heal up all it wants, but without Foul Play, it's not doing any damage into Entei. So this is exactly why I felt like we needed to have Entei in this game. There's still one turn of Trick Room, so we've timed it perfectly. There's not really that much of a point in going for Max Darkness. Like, yeah, I can get a special defense boost, but I'd rather just set up the Sun so we do more damage. Yeah, I'm just going to Protect here. Perfect. All right, not bad. And while this is exactly why I couldn't commit the Dynamax to Moltres, though, right? Like, if we committed the Dynamax there, this, I think, would be a pretty different game. So yeah, they're just going to go for the double up, hoping for a freeze here. That is their best chance, but they don't get it. Nice. So I'm just going for the Flare here because I want to set up the Sun so let my Sacred Fires do more damage in the Sun. But, you know, like, the thing is, yeah, they ended up having Fake Out on Blastoise, and the lead could have been a lot worse. Like, if they were, you know, more offensive with Aleki or just went for, like, Thunderbolt, you know, like, Magnet Thunderbolt, I think is just a KO onto Arfini. I don't know the damage roll, but I think it's close to a, if not a guaranteed KO, then it's obviously really bad, so yeah. Okay, we could still lose, though, because they could stall out Sacred Fire PP, but I think we can just Sacred Fire, and is there any point in boosting up? Like, the alternative, we can Snarl this thing as well. They should always click Trick Room here. I'm fine just going Sacred Fire, I think. Well, I can miss with either attack, right? Like, I honestly want to Snarl to start off, because we know Porygon's only offense is Ice Beam, so Snarl plus Nasty Plot I like here, honestly. Because, like, yeah, with first of all, like, they're going to recover whatever Sacred Fire damage I get onto it. So I'd rather just play in this endgame where it's like, okay, now I don't think Ice Beam even KOs Moltres, given that Light Screen is up and they're at -2 now, so, yeah. I guess if I went for Sacred Fire there, though, you're forced to click Recover. So I could have also just... Oh, Light Screen does wear off. I'm just going to Snarl and Protect here. It's pretty obvious, but I'm fine playing obvious right now. I think the one way we can lose this game is through Timer and through an Ice Beam Freeze. So we want to be careful about that. Great read once again. But it's still fine, right? Like, you can make all the... Like, I'm still fine playing safe right now because the odds of a... Like, there's no reason to try to throw away the game, right? Yeah, so now you're at -3. And we have Sacred Fire, right? And the sun is up, so I'm just going to finally click Sacred Fire here. And just go for Fiery Wrath. Now it's single target as well. I don't think Ice Beam KOs us here, but let's see. 37 HP. Nice. Down to 9. Does not pick up the KO. So if we hit Sacred Fire, this should be game over. Fiery Wrath comes out. Really good damage, actually. More than expected. But of course we missed Sacred Fire. That's fine. I'm just going to Sacred Fire and Protect here. Once again, I think they just go for Ice Beam onto Entei, but whatever. You could obviously recover here as well. That is why I went for the first Snarl. Well, I guess it wouldn't have made a difference. It still comes down to whether or not I hit the Snarl, because if I miss, it's the same position, more or less. But I just like going for Snarl before going for that Sacred Fire. Doesn't pick up the KO. They hit on 1 HP, but the burn should finish him off here. So, yep. I think, if anything, this is a great application of how you learn from your losses, and even though we won Game 3 yesterday, like, it was very close to a loss, and Entei was, like, a clear Pokemon that I just didn't see in Team Preview. So, glad to utilize AV Entei a little bit more here, because, yeah, in Team Preview, it actually looked like a really good max candidate. We just had to be careful about Blastoise, but turn 1 of the game worked out pretty well for us, getting that free knockout onto Rillaboom, and then Porygon just didn't put on very much offensive pressure. So, the key thing we needed to do in this game was just make sure that we didn't get greedy with our Dynamax. Like, it is very tempting to max Moltres in that position. If they're not Eerie Impulse Porygon, we should run away with the game. But because they're Trace, like, so often Trace Porygons do run Eerie Impulse a little bit more frequently, so you do want to watch out for that. And that's exactly why I wanted to bait that move out before committing a Dynamax, so ended up working out pretty okay, but I did misplay this game by not going for the KO onto the Blastoise with a Sucker Punch, because it meant that Moltres took more damage, and I risked a freeze from Blizzard that turn. So always pay attention to each turn. You can indicate who is faster or slower based off residual damage from Sand or Hail, for example, and so in that position, was Trick Room up? I don't remember if Trick Room was up. But either way, we would have been able to see from the Hail that the Moltres was actually slower than the Blastoise. So that was a pretty big misplay, and we got lucky not getting crit or frozen there, but there's no reason to let that even be a possibility when Sucker Punch would have just finished off Blastoise with no risk, right? So I should have just paid better attention there. Otherwise, though, Entei put in a lot of work in that endgame, so really happy about that. And yeah, let's just look for our next one. All right, next match here, and okay, Cradily. We just used Cradily, but Rotom-H, Klefki, Comfey, and Swampert. That is such a cool team. Honestly, I want them to win the game. Regieleki has Body Press, which is valuable. We do have a lot of special attackers, though. Metagross in general is really good into my opponent's team. The Blastoise, sorry, not Blastoise, the Swampert actually scares me a lot. Comfey and Klefki is interesting here. And we do have Sacred Fire, or sorry, not Sacred Fire, Stone Edge on this thing, as well as Snarl. Power of Meteor Beam is obviously the thing to watch out for from the Cradily. I still like Grimmsnarl here. Like, I'm thinking Grim Entei. It's just setup here seems kind of nice. We have to be careful about Feeny because its only water type attack is Muddy Water, and if I Muddy Water, I potentially activate Storm Drain on Cradily and Weakness Policy on Tyranitar. This is a game where you can make a very good argument for all of the Pokemon, but I'm actually going to opt for Runerigus and Metagross here. I feel like Runerigus is probably not it. It's probably better for Galarian Moltres. Like, it's just Galarian Moltres is more consistent. I'm mainly interested in Runerigus because if it's like... I mean, one, it can body press into Tyranitar. That's pretty valuable. But I don't think it's the most consistent option. They are going to go Tyranitar Klefki, though. Okay. So this is probably, like, going to be a Reflect from Grimmsnarl, Sacred Fire onto Klefki turn 1. I expect Klefki to maybe go for, like, a Reflect of their own. That would make a lot of sense. But if they Dynamax Tyranitar, that's good for our Metagross. So, yeah, I'm just going to play it safe. We're going to go for Reflect. We're going to Sacred Fire here, and then go from there. I mean, part of the reason why I wanted to bring Runerigus was for Tyranitar specifically, although I don't even know if that's the smartest decision. But with Reflect and Max HP, Max Defense, like, Max Darkness is not going to come close to KOing Runerigus, I think, because it's just so defensively bulky. But part of me thinks, like, Galarian Moltres is the better pick because it helps against Swampert specifically. So, I'm not sure. Either way, I don't think Sacred Fire KOs Klefki, but it should be a lot of damage. Could have targeted Tyranitar here, but then you're really fishing for the burn, and that feels not very productive to me. And the thing is, we have Metagross in the back, right? So I'm going to set up Reflect here, and then I can just self-Sucker Punch next turn. I guess the fear here is if they... Okay, they just Reflect good. Yeah, I mean, they just committed their Dynamax to Tyranitar. Metagross is going to be stronger than Tyranitar, effectively. Their Klefki is faster than our Grimmsnarl, so that's good to note. Sacred Fire does connect here, so that's good. And honestly, if we survive like a Max Rockfall here, we're in really good shape, I think, on Entei. I would think we survive with Reflect, but I don't know. Entei's not exactly the bulkiest Pokemon. Okay, it was close, but enough to survive. Perfect. Okay, so that's good. Now what? I don't want to Spirit Break Tyranitar. It's probably going to be Weakness Policy. You should always Max Darkness Entei here. Like, part of me wants to greed it a little bit and switch into Runerigus. Well, actually, maybe you don't always Max Darkness because I have Feeny and Moltres as potential switch-ins. So I could actually see them not Max Darknessing. So then the question is, if I'm making a switch out like that, do I really need to conserve Entei that much? It does slightly help into Rotom-H. I think I'm content to just sacrifice here and then get the free switch it into Runerigus. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, I want to Sucker Punch. Oh, I might have timed out there. That's fine. This turn doesn't matter very much, to be honest, regardless of what we do. Yeah, they just set up Light Screen, but that's actually not going to be important at all because we don't have any special attackers in the back. If anything, I actually wish I went for Sacred Fire into Tyranitar. Targeting Klefki there actually doesn't give us too much value because it just gives them a free switch in. So if I were to replay that turn, I'd probably just... Oh, they Max Quake. Okay, that's interesting. That's fine. Oh, and they target Grimmsnarl. Wow, okay, I was not expecting that. I'll take that, though. I mean, that's already 2 turns of their Dynamax done with. 24 down to 13, so we took 11 HP from Sand. So we can take 1 more Sand Chip. Comfey probably comes out right now, and then they activate Weakness Policy, which makes sense to me. But then we have Metagross in the back. And Runerigus. They don't have a defense boost, although they do have the Reflect up. It's going to be Swampert. Okay. Aqua Jet Swampert, Flip Turn Swampert, activate Policy. That would make some sense to me. Either way, let's Light Screen just in case they have Rotom-H or Cradily in the back. And I'm just going to Sacred Fire here into T-Tar. Fish for a burn. Maybe it's worth switching out Grim here, actually. Oh, they protect. Okay. That works for me. I mean, if we get the burn here with Sacred Fire, it really feels like the game's just over. I don't even know if Rockfall KOs Grimmsnarl from the range that it's at. Okay, Sacred Fire, and it gets the burn. Very lucky for us. I mean, it's basically 50-50, but that's huge. They keep going for Max Quakes, which makes sense because they're probably expecting a Feeny or a Moltres in the back, but I don't actually have either. Metagross should just sweep the game for us at this point. I think the one thing here is I'm actually going to switch out the Grimmsnarl so I can guarantee the self-Sucker Punch play because Entei is actually not going to faint here. Entei fainting would have actually been better for us. But Very lucky for us that we got the burn on Tyranitar there, but even if we didn't get it, I'm pretty sure we survive another Max Quake there, so it's not even that bad. But there's just no better, like, there's no point in targeting Swampert there when Tyranitar is the larger threat, right? So I'm going to switch this out now into the Runerigus and go for a... I don't know if it's going to be physical or special Swampert, but I'm down to just Sacred Fire Swampert. Like, they don't have counterplay to it, right? It's like, I don't need to burn it all, but if I get it, hey, that's great. If I don't, it literally doesn't change the position at all. Okay, 3 for 3 on hitting Sacred Fires, which is really nice. It's actually pretty good damage, too. No burn there. They are going to be physical, going to be high horsepower. Okay, not that much. And we actually take the Torrent away, thanks to Wandering Spirit. See if it's a crunch into that slot as well. Oh, they're actually Life Orb Swampert. That's pretty interesting. Ah, it's Special Tyranitar. Interesting. They have Ancient Power. That's kind of scary. They don't get boosted, fortunately. I guess the only awkward thing here is... Okay, I mean, we bring out Metagross. We don't know what their last one is yet, right? So this is actually still very far from over. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Swampert protecting here feels likely. They still have screens up. We have 4 turns of Reflect up. Now this is special T-Tar, it looks like. That actually changes how we play this, I think. They don't have any defense boosts. I just don't want to proc a policy yet. I think Swampert's protecting here. But maybe they just go for a water type attack into Runerigus. I'm going for Body Press Mindstorm. I actually really don't like that. Part of the issue here is that, yes, I've conserved my Dynamax, but they still have bulky Pokemon and screens up. So I don't love my play here. I think we're still in an okay spot, but the thing is that Grimmsnarl isn't carrying the game in terms of offense. And the special Tyranitar definitely changes this dramatically. Okay, they go for Protect. That's fine, though, because I wanted a Mindstorm to set up Psychic Terrain so that I do more damage with Max, further on. But I guess the burn then actually really did matter in Tyranitar. Is actually the Swampert we needed the burn on, which is pretty funny in retrospect. Okay, with the Train up now, I'm hoping Max Psychic KOs that Swampert next turn. I also could have Trick Roomed here with Runerigus. Yeah, they are special with Dark Pulse. Very interesting. But it doesn't KO us. Please no flinch. Okay, good. I don't know if Trick Room was the play there. It might have been. Okay, doesn't KO Tyranitar, but does enough where after Burn... Well, actually, Burn might not finish it off. We might need one more tick. That's actually a little bit scary, if so. Sandstorm subsides. Now, I could obviously KO the Tyranitar this next turn. Okay, I also don't know who's faster between... Okay, does Burn finish it off? No, it actually hangs on. Yikes. Don't love that. The question is what we think the last one is going to be. Rotom heats this threat, right? If it's Comfey or Cradily, we should win pretty comfortably. 3 turns of Reflect left. They have 3 turns of Reflect left as well. Dark Pulse at +2 is certainly going to hurt here. Does Grimmsnarl really offer us much at this point? It would be a Sucker Punch or a Spirit Break. I think Trick Room was probably the play there, but I didn't know the speed. Like, I don't know how Metagross's speed stacks up to my opponent's Pokemon here, which is why I was a little hesitant to go for it. Okay, I'm actually down to switch the Runerigus out here. I'm still spiking a Tyranitar. I think I had to be Mindstorm into Swampert, but the idea of a Dark Pulse scares me, but I don't think it should because I'm Weakness Policy, so I don't think this was the right play. Yeah, they go for Liquidation. They are faster with Swampert. That's not good. I think Swampert actually maybe closes this game out for my opponent. Not picking up the KO with Body Press there was really bad. Honestly, I think it was just Mindstorm into Swampert, because then Tyranitar would have just activated our Weakness Policy there. But now Swampert can Protect on the last turn. Oh, but if Swampert protects, I can Trick Room with Runerigus, actually. It's a big question of what their last one is, but regardless, I'm not happy about how this game played out because part of this actually really depends on what their last one is, and I think it's going to be the Rotom-H. No, it's Cradily. Okay, that's a big deal. That is a big deal. Although I guess you can just... 2 turns of Reflect left on there, and how many turns do we have? 2 turns as well. Now, we should win against Cradily pretty easily. We have 4 turns of Light Screen here. So, I'm actually just going to EQ, because I want the policy activated on Metagross. Does Swampert protect here? Let's say Swampert doesn't protect. What's the worst case? Cradily Energy Ball into us, right? But I do have a defense boost on this thing. Okay, I don't think I want to click Trick Room. I think I'm down to Earthquake to activate the policy, and I will just Mindstorm into Swampert here. Cradily is the one that protects. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, fantastic. I didn't even think about that. I don't think my opponent did either. Oh, no. And we crit there, too. I don't think the crit really mattered. Wow. Well, that's kind of an anticlimactic way to finish off this game. But, yeah. Okay. They ended up attacking into their own Storm Drain, very unfortunately for them. That's not what I was expecting at all, but yeah, Metagross just gets set up now. Yeah, I honestly think I should have just gone Max Psychic. Like, even if they get a +2 Dark Pulse into Dynamax Metagross, we have Light Screen up. It doesn't do that much damage. It was always Max Psychic on a Swampert that last turn. And I think, like, in the end it worked out. Even if, like, I don't think Swampert High Horsepower actually KOs the Runerigus there. Like, so you have to go for a Water-type attack, but unfortunately for them, they had their own Cradily out on the field. But I guess your best bet is, like, protect EQ. EQ wouldn't KO, though, so then we would just knock the Swampert out and activate the policy to beat the Cradily. Like, I don't think they really could have covered from my endgame position here as soon as Cradily was the last one. They basically needed Rotom-H as their last Pokemon to win this one. And without Rotom-H, they like Cradily was never going to do much for them in this endgame. But it makes sense why they brought it, because it would have been super good as an answer into Tapu Fini. But that's definitely one of the cooler teams we've run into in a while. They had, what, Life Orb Swampert, Liquidation, High Horsepower, Protect. They had the Cradily. They had the Klefki. We don't see Klefki. Oh, we can check their team. Okay, that's awesome, because actually I'm really curious. So it's Goggles, Rotom, no Nasty Plot, which means even if they brought Rotom, we actually might have been okay in this endgame. Citrus Cradily, wow, so not Power Meteor Beam. Policy Tyranitar. Full special. I was wondering why it was still doing so much damage into our Grimmsnarl, and that's the explanation. Light Clay, yep. T-Wave, Babiri Comfey here. And then just Life Orb Swampert, max HP, max attack. High Horsepower, Liquidation, Ice Punch. It's one of the coolest teams we've run into this season, honestly, and it was a really close game. Like, I'm not too happy about how I played it. Because it felt like we should have had a very decisive victory after the opening turns. Like, we stalled out their Dynamax super well, but then the Metagross... I'm just thinking maybe I shouldn't have Body Pressed, but what else would I do? If I Trick Room there, then Body Press, I'd actually activate the policy, which makes me a little bit nervous. And I didn't know how the speeds interacted at that point, so yeah. But really, really cool team from my opponent. So let's look for one last one. All right, third game of the day, and... This was actually, you may remember, we featured Physical Coalossal just a couple of weeks ago. And it was, yeah, it was this player that showed us the team. So looking forward to this battle. They got to rank #1, like I mentioned, with this Physical Coalossal team. And they're obviously very high rank now as well. So yeah, I would definitely be okay with the loss here, because it's a really well-constructed team. And even though, yes, it's just Coalossal, like it has some really neat tricks like that offensive Spectrier and the Togekiss. So, yeah. Specs Fini is valuable into Cole. Grim obviously can set up screens. We have Snarl and Entei. I kind of want to go Grimmsnarl plus Moltres, because I kind of anticipate the Spectrier to come out early to deal with Metagross. I don't know if that's the right decision, though, but we'll see. I guess I could go Entei as well. But Entei gets hit by Max Quake, whereas Moltres really walls. Okay, so Grim Moltres with the expectation of maxing Metagross, I think. And then Fini. There's a lot that can go wrong here. And I mean, the reality is playing into... Like, Coalossal's been one of the most dominant archetypes this format because of its flexibility. And this team specifically, if you are curious about it, by the way, check out the Road to Ranked episodes. I'll link it in the description below, where we use this exact team that our opponent has, because they were the one that built it. Yeah, it's Spectrier. Okay, perfect. So this is why I wanted to go Moltres. The only thing here is, do I greed Nasty Plot or do I just Dynamax and max Darkness immediately? What's going to be in the back as well? Like, is it actually going to be Coalossal? I could see it being Togekiss Urshifu. And then I could also see like Fake Out plus Max Strike onto Grim turn 1. Can't really ignore Moltres though, right? I don't know, I just really think Spectrier does not Dynamax here and switches out. So, okay, I think I'm down to Light Screen and Nasty Plot. But the thing is, I could see them going like big on this play. Oh, Rillaboom switches out. Okay, that's actually really good regardless then. Into okay. Into Coalossal. Oh, is Spectrier taunting here? That'd actually be a really good taunt. Nice play. But it goes into Grim. So that's actually really good for us, I would say. Okay. So we get the boosts. I got the light screen up. Obviously, both of that is awesome. Honestly, here, I kind of want to just Spirit Break and Fiery Wrath. I don't want to Dynamax Moltres. Is that really the right play? I mean, we already have Light Screen up, and then Spirit Break would also decrease Coalossal special attack. Oh, Spectrier switches. Oh, no. Okay, that's a really good play, assuming Coalossal protects. Oh, they're just maxing it. Okay. Maybe I'm okay with this then, but it was always to Spirit Break into Spectrier, because Spectrier is in Focus Sash, so Fiery Wrath would have KO'd it. We know the Spectrier doesn't have Protect either. Or not always, I guess, because they could theoretically switch Spectrier out into Rillaboom. Okay. And they Max Guard. Also, that was a really bad play on my end, because it's literally Physical Coalossal. Why would I, like, what am I doing? I know it's Physical Coalossal. If the Spirit Break went into Urshifu there, the game was just over. So that was like a, like we're still in a pretty good spot to be honest, but that was a really critical mistake for me to make. And actually gives my opponent an opportunity to come back into this game. I mean, now I can just reflect. Oh, I can't reflect either, actually. Oh, that was actually so bad on my end then. Yeah, I actually, like, I would call this a throw almost, because like Fire Rat, Spirit Break into Urshifu is always just such a good play. And I so funny, even after using the team, completely blanked and forgot about it being physical. So now they're going to Aqua Jet, right? And then Volcalith. And there's still 2 turns of Taunt. They positioned that so well, and like I had all the pressure and I really just tossed it. Yeah, that was so poorly done on my end. I'm really frustrated at myself for that one, but so be it. Like, this is why you can't give Coalossal any breathing room. All it takes is 1 turn. It's just inexcusable to miss that switch in. Yeah, they're going to Volcalith. I mean, it should go into Moltres here, but I could see them actually targeting Grimmsnarl. Yeah, they do. Okay. Huh. Still potentially winnable then. I just can't believe how badly I messed that turn up. I'm so annoyed at myself for that one. But I mean, I guess the upside is that, like, it's still not even terrible for us. Now they have Rillaboom in the back, which can Fake Out. That's actually probably the biggest issue. But I think I can bring in Metagross. Now the problem is that they have Spectrier. Feeny can change the terrain. They can Max Flare. I needed to get Reflect up in this game as well. The taunt was really good turn 1. But let's not tilt. Like, yes, obviously I made a mistake, but you're not always going to play perfectly in Pokemon, and one mark of a good player is being able to still come up with a victory even if you made mistakes, right? I think it's got to be Metagross here. They bring Rillaboom out. Okay, so this turn, if we can call who they're fake outing, we can win. Like, it feels like your play here is to obviously fake out Moltres and flare Metagross, right? Or you could fake out Metagross, Vocalith. Or Max Guard? Nah, does Max Guard make sense? Not really. I went for the Dynamax with Moltres, but I think they read into this. Like, it's like I feel like I had a maybe safer play to make here. I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's not tilt here. The thing about this turn is I'm making basically the play like covers for their most obvious play, which is fake out Moltres. But it's very likely it just goes the other way, right? Okay, they went for fake out onto Moltres. Good. Show me Flare onto Metagross. Perfect. Perfect. So this is what I mean, right? You can still... Well, the game's not over yet, so let's not get ahead of ourselves, but it's looking very good for us now. But, like, I'm just annoyed at myself because we were in such a good position because of the lead. But this is exactly why you can't give Coalossal any breathing room. And, like, games like that can be particularly frustrating where it's like you have a considerable lead and, like... My opponent's only win con after the beginning of turn 1 was to get Coalossal in safely and then activate that weakness policy. So what I had to deny was, like, it's fine if Coalossal just goes for Vocalith if it doesn't have the policy activated, right? The Spirit Break into Coalossal also just made no sense because we know it's physical Coalossal. If it's special Coalossal, like, okay, maybe you can make a better argument for it, but, like, we've used that team before. But you can see how, like, so many people are programmed to always just think Coalossal is going to be a special attacker, right? Where even I, having used that team, still thought it was a special attacker. So we had to make some big plays to try to come back in this one. But like I said, we had a very safe play of just Fiery Wrath and Spirit Break into the Spectrier slot. And if my intention was to just get the Spirit Break into the Coalossal slot because the Moltres is faster, I don't think that Spectrier had Protect, right? If it had Protect, then that's one reason why you actually make the argument to potentially not target it. But without Protect, the Fiery Wrath will always just KO Spectrier if they're not sashed, and Urshifu sashed on that team. And then Spirit Break gets redirected into Coalossal, and if they switch out, then you get a free Spirit Break into whatever comes in. At that point, after seeing the lead, you know, I think you can assume either Urshifu Cole or Urshifu plus Togekiss in the back. And if it's Urshifu Togekiss, it's not really that scary. Anyway, let's seal up this game. I think we can just go for a Dazzle here and a Airstream onto Rillaboom. So that's why that nasty plot early was really important. But yeah, I'm still not happy about this game because, like, I had such a good play to make, and if Urshifu went down to that Spirit Break, there's no coming back from that at that point. Because then it's a +2 Moltres. It's a +2 Moltres into Coalossal without its Steam Engine or Weakness Policy activated, a Rillaboom and a Spectrier, and then the Moltres just one-shots Rillaboom or Spectrier respectively at that point in the game, and if we get rid of Rillaboom, the Tapu Fini just beats the Coalossal in the endgame as well. So, yeah. You know, the reason I'm hard on myself is because, like, that was a game in which we had to make some, like, really hard predictions to win, right? Like, not switching out Moltres and maxing it, and those are really risky plays where it's like suddenly the ball was initially in my court, I was the one pushing the tempo, putting on the pressure, but then because my opponent actually got the Steam Engine Weakness Policy activated, it moved into their court basically, and they were the one pushing the tempo. So I was the one reacting to their plays, and when you have an early advantage and you're the one forcing your opponent to react to you, that's typically a good sign. So the good thing is there was a play like I mentioned that I missed that would have just covered for every option and probably would have just sealed up the game after turn 1 because we had a good lead, right? I was expecting the Spectrier lead because I thought they would try to deal with the Metagross, so we covered for that. But then I kind of misplayed and threw away the early advantage. So at the end of the day, like, you know, when you play Pokemon, you only win or you lose, right? Those are the two outcomes, but there's so many factors. Like, sometimes a win can be really decisive, sometimes a win can be really ugly, sometimes it can be really close. And in that one, for example, was one in which, like, yeah, like we won, made some good plays, but in the end, those plays often do feel a little bit coin flippy, where it's like all it takes is your opponent to make the one right prediction, you just lose the game instantly. Whereas if I had just covered for that Urshifu switch in initially, there's nothing my opponent can do, even in their, like, even if they're predicting out of their mind, right? Kind of like the last game, right, where Porygon was able to predict all the ice beams, and every time I protect with a Moltres, like, it doesn't matter because we were just in such a advantageous position. So yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. So thanks so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like. Thanks once again to The Ridge for sponsoring today's video. And once again, if you're curious about the last team we just went up against, we used on Road to Ranked a couple of weeks ago. So thanks once again to the original creator, Jude, for sharing that team with me. And yeah, they're obviously a super strong player and constantly on the top of the ladder. So if you need a good team to climb with, honestly, yeah, I'd still highly recommend that one. So I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.